Right, Robbie, give a clap to the camera, please, Robbie.
What a moment for Robbie Fowler.
Liverpool for me was the pinnacle.
An absolute icon in the Premier League for the goals that he scored.
For many Liverpool fans, we get misty-eyed just talking about Robbie Fowler.
The fans absolutely adored him.
You have to understand that Robbie Fowler was known as God.
I didn't want to leave.
The back pages have been full of stories linking Fowler with a move.
The club definitely tried to sell me a few times.
He'd gone from being the mainstay to then being a squad player.
I wanted to play.
No player at all is ever going to be bigger than the club.
Fowler's fallout with assistant manager Phil Thompson and apparent refusal to apologise has been taken very seriously.
He wanted to seek a new challenge.
Was the tension? Probably a little bit.
It was Robbie Fowler. What football club wouldn't want him? Can you get him is the question. And I honestly believe, had there not been internal issues between Robbie and the manager at the time, would have never got him.
In a silly sort of way. I'm glad I left because it gave me the best thing that ever happened to me in football was getting a chance to go and re-sign for Liverpool.
How attached are you to Liverpool?
I love it. Yeah. Honestly, I really do love it. I mean, I've grew up here.
You'd never consider going anywhere else?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm well happy at Liverpool. I just can't see myself leaving Liverpool.
He'd been brought in by the local scout, Jimmy Aspinall, and I'm looking at Robbie. I see him moving about. After 5 minutes, I turn round and the coaches I was working with were Dave Shannon and Steve Highway. He just sort of turned the head out and we looked at each other as if to say, wow, look at this fella.
It's always extra special when someone from the academy comes through to play for Liverpool, but even more special when they're a Scouser, they're an inner city boy like Robbie, because it feels like one of you has made it.
In those days, Robbie was also an Everton lad as well. His dad, quite rightly, wanted him to have trials for both clubs before making any real decision. But we knew it would always be a toss-up to which team he may go to. It was just before his 16th birthday, he said and told us that he wanted to sign for us.
Once they've played for Liverpool, it does stay in them.
He just made it look like he was just playing in the park with his mates really, and everything that he did seemed to go in. He soon became the star of that side, and it was just incredible to witness firsthand those goal-scoring exploits.
In most situations, in most cities, the local boys are judged more harshly. For Robbie to do well and be a local boy and still be invested in the community and do the stuff in his community, I have to take my hat off to him.
He worked his socks off and he quickly gained the respect of first-team players. He's playing with the likes of Ian Rush, who helped him an awful lot as well. You got him, John Barnes, Reyes Ruddy, senior players, and you know, to have that type of experience playing with, they trusted Robbie because they knew, given opportunities, this lad's going to score goals.
He's away again. Is this going to be the hat-trick? It could still be. It is! Fowler. Rush in the centre. Fowler didn't need him. Tremendous goal from Robbie Fowler. Oh, is it going in? It is! Robbie Fowler. Yes! It is Fowler's day.
Robbie's probably the most naturally talented goal scorer I've seen. Left foot, right foot, tap-ins, long shots, dribbles, headers, all different types of goals.
Just the cleanness of his strikes and everything, but not just that, having the ability to understand where to be, what sort of finishes needed, he's got the lot.
You look at Robbie and you think, how did he do it? Because he was just a naturally born goal scorer.
His ability to get on the ball, to sidestep players, to finish shots off, to find space, and to always be involved in the game was absolutely first class. An absolute natural footballer. As a coach, it lights your eyes up, it really does.
Fowler was God, which is quite a thing to proclaim to someone. You know, Kenny was the king and Fowler was God. I don't know who makes the higher or not. You think about how many fantastic players who've played for Liverpool over the years, how many amazing strikers. You know, the fact that he was called God just showed how gifted he was and how special he was as a footballer.
I think my history and my performances, my goals, everything at Liverpool was incredible. It really was. And I think obviously being a Liverpool lad and what I'd done and what I achieved with the club, I think that would have put me in a good place for the club in the eyes of what I was worth.
Soccer sensationalists have put two and two together and come up with 8 million. The papers were screaming out with stories about Jamie Redknapp and Robbie Fowler leaving Liverpool at the weekend. So today, Gerard Houllier has countered by writing his own headlines.
Neither Jamie nor Robbie are for sale. Is that clear? We are building a new team.
The back pages have been full of stories linking Fowler with a move, with United and Arsenal the leading suitors.
Every time I turn over the paper, I'm linked with someone or the other, but again, I've said in the past, I'm very happy at Liverpool. I'll continue to be happy at Liverpool. I've got no reason to want to move anywhere.
The club definitely tried to sell me a few times. I think one was to Aston Villa. I think Aston Villa had a bid accepted. Chelsea had a bid accepted.
I wouldn't mind having him in the team, not at all. But I'm not sure that Liverpool wants him to leave.
Now I knew that because Gianluca Vialli phoned me up. He said, look, the club have accepted a bid and we want to come and talk. And I went, a bit taken aback there because I didn't know what was happening. And he went, look, this is definitely happening. And I went, I'll go and speak to the club. So I went back to the club the next day and obviously they denied it. But I'd seen the affidavit from Colin Hutchinson, who was the Chelsea CEO at the time. I sort of knew then my time is up and numbered.
Can you talk us through why it had started to go downhill?
So we started to get in a little bit of trouble. Robbie on and off the pitch, Gerard Houllier had come in and I'd had a little bit of a look, and I think it felt that some of the discipline had slipped out of the club and it needed reinstalling a little bit. And I think there was a general feeling amongst Liverpool supporters that we maybe slipped behind some other clubs, so something needed to be done. So there was a lot of faith in Houllier to make the changes. We didn't want Robbie necessarily to be one of them. And then the injuries started, and I think that was probably a bigger factor, really. I think Liverpool had to start making a few plans without him.
I think Gerard was always a bit concerned about his injury record and maybe just a little bit of a Spice Boys legacy, because Gerard was like Arsene, consummate professional. It was all about application and diet and taking care of yourself, and there was always just that little something that you felt he wasn't quite on the same plane as Robbie all the time.
For club and country, Emile Heskey joins his not-so-old mate, Michael Owen, and Robbie Fowler for what's potentially the Liverpool and England striking triumvirate for the decade to follow.
I looked at who's playing here already. There's some world-class players, it's not just up front.
There's a lot of forwards, everyone's fighting for places, no one's guaranteed a place. It's good competition, it means it'll keep you on your toes.
When you sign for a club like Arsenal, Manchester, Chelsea, Leeds or Liverpool, you're always in competition for places.
I'd obviously played with Michael for a long time, but with Robbie I'd only really watched him and then joined with the England setup as well. I knew that I was good enough to be joining Liverpool, and then it was like, we're going to play a lot of games. It's how that was going to be shared between the three of us. The reality is you're not going to play all them games, are you? Because you're just going to end up with injuries. It was good to have that core of players and that many players that we could choose from.
I didn't want to leave, but the more it goes on, the more you are a bit part player, if you like, and not really part of the manager's plans. And I wanted to play.
Gerard was a massive believer in rotation and always wanted 4 top strikers. It's always a challenge keeping players happy. We'd have been celebrating the fact that we had 3 England strikers. Not too many clubs could have claimed that.
I think as Liverpool fans, we thought, well, we should be going out and getting the best strikers, the best forwards, or just the best players. At the time as well, we were chasing Manchester United and they had 3 or 4 top forwards. You look at that treble season. So I think there was an acceptance a bit more that it was a squad game, and with Robbie's injuries as well, that maybe he needed a little bit more help. So I think Heskey was seen by fans as an addition to the squad rather than necessarily replacing anyone. Robbie was still the favourite.
Football has maybe changed now, whereas you get players sort of sitting on the bench and quite happy. I hated that. I never wanted to do that, and I couldn't fathom out why I wasn't playing, because I believed I was the best there.
Another troubled week for the Liverpool captain. Robbie Fowler, the victim of a nightclub attack which left him with facial injuries. Then the surprise arrival of Finnish striker Jari Litmanen. the transfer speculation about Fowler has intensified.
I think it's well known that I have the highest respect for Robbie Fowler, but we don't need anybody up front. We have 4 strikers.
Robbie Fowler's God. You know, he can't leave Liverpool.
Robbie Fowler should go nowhere.
Leave him alone, let him get on with his football here.
I've said and repeated that I don't want Robbie to leave, the club doesn't want Robbie to leave, and he doesn't want to leave the club. Now, what clearer message do you need to just leave us alone for a while?
A lot of people have come up to me and asked me what I'm doing. You know, I'm obviously a Liverpool player. Obviously, you've got to work that a little bit harder to get back into the team. And
people were talking about it, so it probably wasn't something that just happened and it happened. I think there was a little bit of talk and the club was denying it, the manager denying it, but I knew what was happening.
I don't remember any formal approaches, to be honest. I don't think we ever consciously said, we're going to sell Robbie or we need to sell. You're always looking at different permutations and adapting to different circumstances.
There's a little bit of an embarrassment factor as well, the fact that the club doesn't want you and you've got to go and tell your teammates that. What will they say to you?
I've obviously followed Robbie from a younger age, very intelligent player, so he understood what I wanted and I understood what he wanted. And it worked really well. I don't think we give ourselves the justice we should, where we played in different systems. So when you look at it, we played with 2 up front, but then sometimes we play with 1 behind the other. Well, I think we got it absolutely spot on. I think you got to take your hat off to Gerard Houllier, who brought me in and incorporated it really well. We obviously won the trophy.
Produces an absolutely magnificent goal! A trophy at last for Robbie Fowler, only the 2nd of his career.
Winners.
Absolutely magnificent! Liverpool with a monopoly on the cups at Cardiff. The FA Cup now goes to Liverpool.
A club rich in European tradition.
He certainly played his part that season, and maybe he would have liked to start at a couple more of those bigger games, a couple more of the finals, but when he was on the pitch, he certainly delivered.
Click back by Fowler, Robbie Fowler!
He scored twice at Charlton in the 4-0 win at the very last game of the season, which in many ways was the biggest game of the lot, because that was the one that took us into the Champions League. He'd made a real contribution that season.
I've said all along I'm happy, and whenever I'm not playing, there's rumours all the time that I'm not playing, that I'm leaving. If it's not me, it's going to be someone else in it.
I obviously wasn't playing as much, so I just probably knew for my own sanity that I was probably best leaving. I felt forced, if that makes sense. I didn't really want to leave, but I just knew that I wasn't going to play.
Robbie's a footballer. Every footballer wants to play football. You'd probably get frustrated every now and again, but I don't think it was anything no one else wouldn't have done.
There wasn't really conversations, or you're going and we don't like you here, or we don't want you here. There was never like that. I think it was always professional in terms of you are part of the plans, but ultimately you're not part of the plans because they are trying to sell you. So you've got to look after yourself and you've got to try and be professional and go and do what you need to do. Because if you start getting sort of uptight about anything, then that could sort of ruin you. Nowadays we talk about the mental side of, you know, the aspect of players and how it can affect them. But it affected players years ago as well, but we just didn't talk about it. But if you're strong-minded and strong-willed, then it's probably a little bit easier and you accept it a little bit quicker. So other players couldn't do that. I was quite lucky, but I was mentally quite strong, and the attitude what will be.
It'd gone from being the mainstay, the player, the one who scores all the goals, and to then being a squad player. And we all were squad players, and we had to understand that as well. But some would be a bit more, playing a little bit more than others.
A falling out with the manager meant Robbie Fowler watched the Charity Shield from the sidelines. A week on, and the rift is still to be healed.
Fowler's fallout with assistant manager Phil Thompson and apparent refusal to apologise has been taken very seriously by Gerard Houllier.
Mike Clear, I've told you that situation at this stage is not resolved, but he knows what's going on, he understands the situation, he knows what he's expecting. We won't back off that. So that's clear. So at the moment he's not in the squad.
There was a training ground incident, and you get training ground incidents all the time, especially in the build-up to the season. But Gerrard had wanted Robbie to apologise for an incident. He didn't straight away, wouldn't. So he was left out Community Shield. I think he did, and kind of reintegrated himself. And these things happen. It's silly to pretend that they don't. Then, of course, we had Gerrard's really unfortunate illness. So he was obviously away from the club for a very significant period, leaving Phil in charge.
There's tension in terms of looking, you know you probably not really want to, so there's a bit of tension, but you don't hate them, do you? I mean, you might dislike them for a certain moment and you think that they've got other plans, but you probably get a little bit older and a little bit longer in the tooth that you understand, well, they're doing it for the reason why they want to do it. So was the tension? Probably a little bit, in all honesty, but it didn't affect anything. I mean, we still spoke, and we never not spoke for months, or, you know, we had fallings out, of course we did, but, you know, I fell out with all managers or coaches. There's sometimes words can get said where, you know, you're in an environment or a vicinity of a group of people. There's sometimes, it's football.
Liverpool substitution, replacing number 9 Robbie Fowler, number 21 Gary McAllister.
My last game, the first spell, was a game at Anfield. We had a man sent off, and I got brought off at half time. So you sort of know, and I was like the captain. I understand from a manager taking this right up because you've got 10 men and you want to change, but the captain's the one who should be on the pitch.
Robbie will tell you no one's bigger than Liverpool, and no single player, even God, is bigger than Liverpool. And so at that point it looked like Houllier was the man who was going to not just get us these cup trophies that we were enjoying, but was going to be the guy who was going to deliver the Premier League. And even if it meant not starting Robbie, then fans were going to accept it.
You make your decisions in good faith with the best interests of the club at heart, and if you hope that most of them come off, and that if you're continuing to win trophies, the fans will understand. But it was all about doing what's right for the club. Inevitably, no player at all is ever going to be bigger than the club.
It's hard to sort of get your head around it, but when you get your head around it, it's easy to understand and what can happen in football. It really can. So I don't think there was one particular moment. I think it was like over a period of weeks, months that you sort of you know what's happening here.
I'd written a piece in the Telegraph saying that Leeds lacked ambition. They needed more firepower, they needed to sort of invest in the squad, what was going on there, why weren't they showing any ambition? Anyway, I sort of filed the piece, didn't think much more of it, and then got a call from someone at Leeds United, very high up at Leeds United, who gave me an absolute coating down the phone. So they absolutely said, yeah, we're ambitious, we're incredibly ambitious, we're going to build a new Leeds, and we're going to bring in Robbie Fowler from Liverpool to lead our strike force. Okay, so look, apologies, you are obviously showing ambition. Just to effectively give you a right of reply, do you mind if I write a piece saying, actually, I got it wrong, Leeds United are showing ambition and they're going to bring Robbie Fowler? And he said, yeah, that's great, yeah, make up for that nonsense you wrote yesterday. I said, okay. So I just sort of wrote a sort of news story about Robbie Fowler's about to sign for Leeds United from Liverpool. The story then unfolded pretty quickly the next couple of days.
Other clubs are interested, but Leeds United were clearly a club that top players were happy to discuss joining. I never found Robbie difficult to persuade. We'd got some quality players at the time. Leeds' stature in those days was clear for everybody to see. You know, we were regularly in the top 5 of the Premier League. We were competing in Europe every year.
The Leeds offer came, I think, pretty much out of the blue. It was a very attractive one in financial terms. I think it was one that Robbie wanted to accept. It was relatively quick and straightforward because there wasn't an awful lot of haggling. It was a very decent offer and pitched at a level where we said, well, we've got to look at this seriously.
I just knew that Leeds was a good club with good players and a potential, because I was still ambitious and I still wanted to be the best and I still wanted to win stuff. And I just genuinely believed that you had a good chance of winning stuff at Leeds.
The numbers today probably don't sound like a lot of money, but at the time it was a lot of money, and there were big wages for Leeds United. The deal worked for both parties. For us it was a coup. I needed to get it done, and I think our board minutes on the day he signed actually said that this is the one signing we thought would take Leeds to the next level.
Leeds at the time were growing, weren't they? Rio, players like that, Woodgate, etc., etc. They were a growing team, and they were going places. So, yeah, direct rival, but You're not going to expect him to go lower than that, are you?
It wasn't a case of, well, we can't sell him to a rival. We just took the view that if there was a deal to be done, we wouldn't stand in his way if he thought it would advance his career. I think it's almost one of those where we maybe felt maybe it was the best thing all round, give him a fresh start, bank some money for the club and move on. So I think it was almost one of mutual consent.
And once I obviously found out that they were willing to sort of help me get away from, my predicaments in terms of not playing and helping me sort of to try and establish myself as that Premier League player again, then it was an easy decision.
He's been top of David O'Leary's wanted list since the Irishman took over at Ellen Road. Now with Liverpool prepared to cash in on one of the country's best finishers, O'Leary has his man.
I think the last few days have been very exciting for me. I've not experienced transfers before, so I mean I'm new to it all, and obviously I wouldn't like to go through another medical, so hopefully I'll be here for a while now.
When Jimmy Hasselbank left here a few years back, I offered Liverpool the 12 million for him, so I've been chasing for a few years now, and it's lovely to get him.
What did he bring to Leeds United?
Goals. Just a top-class goal scorer, one of the best in that way. For us at Leeds to get him from Liverpool was a great achievement by Peter.
Yeah. During my career, I had people saying, why did Peter Isdale sign that player or not sign that player? Whenever you're in English football, the starting point is, does the manager want the player? And if the manager wants the player, you've got a situation where you try very hard, if you can, to get that player. It was Robbie Fowler. Robbie Fowler is a quality footballer, one of the best finishers. What manager wouldn't want him? What football club wouldn't want him? Can you get him is the question. And I honestly believe, had there not been internal issues between Robbie and the manager at the time, we'd have never got him.
We call him God. We don't want him to go.
I think it's a mistake of Liverpool to let him go.
You have to respect Robbie's decision. He wanted to seek a new challenge, and you have to remember that.
For me, Robbie Fowler leaving was devastating. Whenever you saw him in a Leeds shirt, it just looked like he'd come out in the wrong top by mistake and he was going to go and get changed.
You have to understand that Robbie Fowler was known as God to Liverpool fans. So it was a big move. For them, it was like losing a member of their family. It was slightly strange, just seeing him in a white strip rather than the red of Liverpool.
It might have been more of a shock to people, and you'll see me in a different shirt, because I've been at Liverpool from when I was 11 years old, going through academies, reserve teams, first team. So I made my debut when I was 18, but I'd been in around the squad from when I was 17. So the only thing I'd ever known was Liverpool, and then all of a sudden you got a different shirt on.
I didn't see it coming because, again, I thought, well, Robbie's captain, he's our guy, he's Liverpool through and through, he's not going anywhere. And he's got a major part to play. As a player, at times you've got to take a decision that fits you. It might not be in your mind that that's the right decision right now, but it's a decision that's possibly needed to be made. Robbie's England international as well, so you have aspirations to go even further with that. What comes with that is regular game time. I
would have loved to have stayed and played and finished my career at Liverpool. Of course I would have. Maybe being at Liverpool from when I was 11 years old to 27, 28 when I left. Maybe I took it for granted. Maybe I never understood what Liverpool was all about until I went. So Leeds, Man City, very, very good clubs with great fan bases who really were very good to me. But them clubs are not like Liverpool.
I'm absolutely delighted to be back. I mean, honestly, I feel like a kid waking up on Christmas morning every day now.
That was like a dream come true for him.
We looked at the numbers, we looked at where Robbie was in the stage of his career, and we thought this will work as a free transfer. It's not going to work if there's going to be a large fee involved. And to their credit, Man City were decent. Some clubs, knowing it was Liverpool, would have said, well, we're going to try and extract a fee. But City honoured that commitment, allowed Robbie to leave free. It was probably up there, probably the most emotional day for me in re-signing or in signing a player.
It just felt so right, and we never thought it would happen. We loved him and will always love Robbie Fowler.
Liverpool for me was the pinnacle, but I only realised he was the pinnacle when I left. So getting a chance to go back and playing for Liverpool was the best thing that ever happened to me. In a silly sort of way, I'm glad I left because it gave me the best thing that ever happened to me in football, was getting a chance to go and re-sign Liverpool, which was perfect.
Sky Mobile sponsors the transfer window on Sky Sports News.